No matter how much artillery is fired, no matter how many bombs are dropped, ultimate victory belongs to the infantry soldier, who must fight the last 100 yards of every battle. With every step, the infantrymen risk limb and life for the sole mission of protecting the freedoms we all enjoy. Defending our freedom for more than 230 years, infantrymen have earned more than half of all the medals of honor awarded in our nation's major wars. And 80% of those who have sacrificed their lives in those wars have been from the infantry. Yet this legacy of valor and sacrifice has gone largely unrecognized. To repay our long overdue debt to them, we will tell their stories and preserve their legacies in the new National Infantry Museum and Soldier Center at Patriot Park. The new museum will sit here, nestled among the pines and hardwoods of Fort Benning, Georgia. This post is one of the Army's largest, and it serves as the home of the infantry. The 200-acre site links Fort Benning with Columbus, a community that has opened its arms to the infantry since 1918. At the entrance to the museum, the imposing statue of a young infantry leader in the famous "Follow Me" pose will welcome visitors and set the stage for an experience unlike any other museum. Your journey begins as the infantryman's ends, traversing the last 100 yards. Each step of the 30-foot wide ramp will recount the major battles of the infantry's storied history. Multidimensional environments, huge-scale projections, immersive sound, theatrical lighting, and a stirring musical score will bring the scenes to life, transporting visitors to the front lines. At the end of the gradually ascending ramp, the sounds of marching boots and a thundering drill sergeant lure you into the Fort Benning Gallery. It's here you'll learn about the training that transforms boys into men, recruits into warriors. Leaving the Fort Benning Gallery, you'll find you've risen a full story and are overlooking the museum's soaring central gallery from atop a grand staircase. The huge central gallery will be a hub of activity and a space for functions and events. Lining the central gallery are portals to 6 eras in American history, from the Revolutionary War to the present. The galleries will feature interactive exhibits, such as combat locator maps, where you could select the very spot where your father took part in a battle to learn more about it. There will also be immersion experiences that will carry you to another place and time. You may trudge through the confining walls of a World War I trench with barbed wire hanging overhead and a new threat around every corner. In another gallery, you'll walk through a dense, steamy jungle in Vietnam, sweating the uncertainty of fighting a nearly invisible foe. Over time, the accomplishments of infantrymen have been celebrated in many ways. In the new National Infantry Museum, the Hall of Valor and the Ranger and Officer Candidate School Halls of Honor will proudly tell these heroes' stories. But the museum is not just for the soldier. It will pay special tribute to those who have sacrificed because of their love of an infantryman, the parents, the wives, the children. One such story is that of Lieutenant General Hal Moore and his wife Julie, whose experiences were recounted in the popular book and movie, We Were Soldiers Once and Young. It was in the Ia Drang Valley of Death in 1965. More than 250 soldiers deployed from Fort Benning lay wrapped in green ponchos, casualties of the first major battle of the Vietnam War. As the commander's wife, it was Julie Moore's job back at Fort Benning to receive the stack of telegrams bearing the message that strikes fear in the hearts of every soldier's family. The letter begins, "The Secretary of the Army regrets to inform you." These are the stories that beg to be told. But the experience does not end at the museum's doors. Visitors who have been moved by what they've seen may want to reflect a while in Patriot Park. A Memorial Walk of Honor will include dozens of markers and memorials, places for quiet reflection. The walk will be anchored by a 250-foot jump tower, an icon of the airborne infantry training experience. Just off the walk, visitors may encounter a series of life-sized vignettes depicting various infantry experiences, from troop transport by helicopter into the combat zones of Vietnam to the rush of Bradley fighting vehicles through the wind and grit of the desert wars. For many visitors, the journey to discovery will begin at this prominent feature of Heritage Park, a 7-acre parade ground where 2,500 friends and family members from all across the country will watch their loved ones graduate from infantry and basic training. The inspirational ceremonies will help define the legacy their loved one has joined. Just beyond the parade ground is the World War II Company Street. Its wooden buildings resurrect a time during the war when more than 16 million Americans were trained to defend our nation. After the war, most of these temporary camps were torn down. But here you'll see a cluster of restored buildings, including a mess hall, supply room, orderly room, and barracks. The headquarters and sleeping quarters actually were used by General George Patton prior to being deployed to North Africa. World War II Company Street also includes a restored chapel that will be available for weddings, baptisms, or memorial services. Everything you have heard about so far will be absolutely free to visitors of the new museum. But there will be revenue-generating opportunities, including an IMAX theater, a museum shop, and a military-themed restaurant. Visitors to Soldier Center, both young and old, might like to try their hand at firing an M16 in a training simulator, just like the soldiers use, or riding in a virtual Bradley fighting vehicle. Or they might work up the courage to face the museum's airborne experience. A combination of media and special effects will give the visitor the impression of jumping from a plane into a combat zone. Whether stepping into the boots of the infantryman or researching the evolution of Army doctrine, visitors will be drawn to the museum's primary mission as an institution of learning. Here, young soldiers will learn about the legacy they have just joined. School children will learn about the price the infantry has paid for the freedoms we all enjoy. And business leaders will learn how Army values of duty, honor, and integrity help shape American success stories. The plans you have just seen represent what the National Infantry Foundation believes is its sacred trust: to honor the infantry's legacy of valor and sacrifice, to salute the men whose sense of duty knows no bounds, and to preserve the pieces of their past. We hope you will support the creation of this fitting tribute that will in some small way help repay our debt to the infantry. We think the time is right. We know the cause is just.